to Hybris Conversations. My name is Suresh Kochatel. Event management, hospitality management, doing events, mentoring people. I mean, how can you pack so many into one single life? And I often get puzzled with people like this because the multi-skilled, multifaceted, multitasking that they do is immense. And the admiration always grows. Today I have with us one such lady who has traversed across the spectrum for the last 16 years, doing so many things, it's difficult to pack and ask her what her biodata would look like. And I was told once that it runs into more than 8 pages. We have with us today Vishala Reddy, whom I could call an entrepreneur, whom I could call a destination manager, whom I could call a salesperson, everything all boiled down into one. Welcome to the show, Vishala.
Thank you.
So, I don't want to describe your biodata, but I would ask you to start by speaking about where you first began. I remember you started with the Hyderabad International Convention Center. You were into sales, you were into events there. So can you start by telling us what exactly did you do?
So actually my professional journey started with the hospitality industry. I joined as an events executive in one of the 3-star hotel called Prajay Engineer Syndicate. It was owned by Prajay Engineer Syndicate. And then my HICC journey started in 2007. That was my turning point. There I started working in events department, HICC events department, and then I moved on to sales. And then destination marketing, because in HICC we were bidding for international conference projects, and we were working with more of associations and the government. That is where I developed interest in destination marketing and how countries and nations go and bid for conventions, and what do they showcase about places, and what do they mention about the bid document. So that is where I developed my destination marketing and branding interest. And from 2013, it has been traveling in this sector. It might look like there's too many things that I'm doing, but it's all one that is into destination development and marketing. That's how.
So you once you left HICC and you came to know that is your calling, that is destination marketing or destination planning, destination conceptualizing everything. You also did a lot of other activities which we often see you in the newspapers for. The Rahagiri Day was one such thing. Can you speak a little bit about what did you do there?
So as I said, in 2013, I started exploring destination marketing and branding. Generally, if you are marketing a product, you showcase certain features. Suppose if you are marketing an Apple iPhone, you can say such features like, this is this company or this much of storage or, a lot of other features. But if you are promoting a destination, you have to showcase different aspects about the city. So one is the culture and the culinary and arts and crafts and your history, heritage and your people.
Hyderabad is the right place to
Yeah, so it's a lot of things that you want to showcase, and that is what actually interested me. Then as I started learning more, I realized that we focus excessively on destination marketing. We go to several other countries and we attract people, we try to attract tourism, we try to attract investments, but the thing is that we don't try and do the destination alignment. Generally what happens if you are selling a phone and the delivery is also stays with the company which sells the phone. If you have any repair or anything, that you can reach out to their sales or service center. But in tourism destination marketing, the delivery is by people. When I say people, it is the local businesses, it is local stakeholders, it is sometimes even the auto drivers or a taxi drivers or a tour guide. They are actually delivering the experience. So if you don't do the capacity building programs, if you don't sensitize them how to behave, and that is where you will go wrong and the destination image will not be good. So this is the area which I actually started with destination marketing, but actually slowly I found where there is a gap and I started working on it. So the campaigns I did are destination development campaigns, sensitizing people, sensitizing citizens, creating awareness about pedestrian rides and cycling and keeping our public spaces in a proper way and creating that kind of vibrant environment. So, yeah.
So when you say cycle to work, you had that as one of your drives. I remember that also got a lot of publicity because, of course, people do cycle to work, but it's sometimes you have to force them to cycle to work.
Yeah.
But that culture actually picked up from there. So what was the concept all about?
So, the very reason why I decided to work on cycle to work and campaigns like Rahagiri Day is one of the experience that I had in my professional life. So, in 2012 or something, as part of the Hyderabad Convention Visitor Bureau, I was working with them, and we were bidding for a project, a conference to bring it to Hyderabad. That convention is really, really big in earth sciences. So we would have attracted up at least delegates from 100 countries, and that conference had 10,000 delegates coming into Hyderabad. And we actually went to bid for that conference. I was in Australia, in Melbourne Convention Center. We had about 6 countries coming and bidding for it. And then what happened? We lost it. I prepared that bid document for 6 months. And I asked why, you said like our bid document is number 1. And you said the way we presented was number 1. And the kind of support system, we even got a letter from the Prime Minister. So, if this is the kind of thing, why did not award this conference for us? And what they told was very interesting. They said, number 1, you are bidding for this conference in the month of July. In Hyderabad, it rains and you have a lot of water clogging and you will have malaria and all this kind of diseases coming in. So that is number 1. And number 2 is that your roads are shared by buffaloes and autos and cars and taxis and lorries. Everything. And whatever it is. So you don't have that kind of road sense. And if my person coming there and if they fell sick or if they get hit by one of your vehicles, so who will be responsible? And the third thing what they told was when a tourist or a delegate comes to a city, they would like to experience the city. So if they are not able to walk on your roads, you don't have footpaths and you don't have proper paths where they can go and experience this local life. So this is one of the reason. And fourth reason was very silly. I mean, it's not silly. What they said is like if 10,000 delegates are coming to Hyderabad, you have to put them in 100 plus hotels. So, from that hotel to convention center, it takes easily 1 hour or 2 hours time. They have to, if we are starting a convention at 9 a.m., they have to start from respective hotels. And if they are not able to come to the convention center because you don't have all the hotels within the vicinity of the convention center, so who will do it? And actually this is what I was thinking. Destination branding means you create beautiful brochures, you make nice videos, and then you go showcase, you present. But I realized actually destination branding, place branding is beyond all this. So this is not about creating brochures. It is about bringing that behavior in our own citizens and sensitizing our government what is priority. If you have to attract such kind of tourism, business events industry or culture tourism or experience tourism, you have to prepare your citizens and prepare destinations. So cycle to work, we started with that, and we started kind of sensitizing companies in the IT sector, and in fact government, it was supported by government, and I see a lot of changes. There was not even one imported bicycle stores that time. Then you saw at least 10 people opening up their stores, and the kind of events we did, 10,000 people cycling in Gachibowli Stadium. So it completely changed the cycling scenario.
And I think after that also a lot of institutions also came forward to set up cycling units within their own campuses and all that. That all happened.
Yes, that happened. Actually, a lot of companies, what we created is we created centralized guidelines. If at all you have to attract your people to commute by cycling, these are certain things that you have to do. You have to offer certain incentives, and you have to mark some kind of parking spaces. And couple of campuses that I have seen that they created a separate cycling parking right at the entrance of their company gate. So this kind of changes that we have seen.
So when you talk of a car-free Thursday, for example, you had cycling on one end, and on the other end you had this car-free Thursday. We said everybody should take a either pool or you should take a public transport to come to work. Now, when you talk of that kind of concept and when you see a city like Hyderabad, for example, how do you think people in a city like Hyderabad would adjust to that kind of, did they accept that fact that there can be a car-free Thursday?
See, the campaigns like Car Free Thursday or Cycle to Work, they don't achieve a lot on the ground, but they create a lot of discussion around the topic. If you don't create a topic called Car Free Thursday, and if you don't sensitize your people that what is the adverse effects of cars, we don't realize there's a lot of health issues because people don't walk or they don't cycle, and also there is a lot of congestion. You don't reach your work on time, and then you don't have time to spend with your families, and you have a lot of stress level, mental stress level. So these kind of things that you have to sensitize people, and people, the minute you ask what is the solution to reduce traffic, one of the answer people give is widen your roads. It is not the solution, but it's been told, we've been told that is the only solution because governments excessively focus on infrastructure. They don't focus on softer elements like public transportation and all because, frankly speaking, they don't make money out of it.
There was no metro also at that time.
Yeah. So that is the reason that, we wanted to sensitize through these campaigns. It was not to make everybody to go car free. It is not. It's impossible. But you have to create that kind of discussion and create that kind of awareness about that particular campaign.
Now I think with the work from home in the post-COVID scenario, there are no cars in any case in anywhere in this city. I don't think that we see that much of traffic which we saw earlier in this. But you had this 1 lakh hands campaign also. I remember, Vishala, very clearly. What was the thought behind that?
So actually, before Car Free Thursday, I did another campaign called Rahagiri Day. It was like reclaiming your streets. In fact, Rahagiri Day started in Delhi, and we are the first city in South India to adopt it. And later, even Vijayawada, Amaravati, they also adopted this campaign. When I was working for Car Free Thursday, we were telling people, we were standing with placards on the roads, and we were telling, we were smiling, go car free tomorrow and all that. And I would see that people just wouldn't smile. And then I realized, there is something wrong. Why are those people so mechanical? So serious, so bucked up. And then I was thinking, okay, maybe these people work with systems, so they actually don't work with people. Their entire life is in front of computer. So where will they get that kind of social skills?
Chance to appreciate people also.
Yeah, and also not everybody is like that. I'm just telling, like, major portion of people, they were behaving like that. And then I wanted to do something very different and very creative. And one of the idea I got, why don't we involve children to make them write personalized stories to their parents and to their fellow citizens. And also, the children also needs to get sensitized. So, nowadays what's happening, the minute the child is like 1 year, 2 years or 3 years old, the first thing what you're doing is giving him that mobile game, and where he'll play that car games, hard speed, go, hit him, do that, violent kind of behavior. And imagine this kid is like, growing up in that kind of environment. Tomorrow he's bringing the real car. He's also trying to drive like that. And that is where you see a lot of teenagers went and killed people. So, the children also needs to get sensitized about our environment and what is happening around the world. Live in the reality. Now you see, now COVID happened. Everybody has to get to the reality, isn't it?
That's true.
So that is what we tried doing 4 years back, even before COVID also. Sensitizing children and also improving their creativity.
Okay.
Now after that, computers and phones came, people stopped writing.
Nobody writes letters.
Nobody writes letters. So we thought we will do an art intervention and do this campaign. And I don't even know how this idea came, but I was very, very proud. This campaign also won one of the national award. And one of the answer one child wrote was really impressive. He said, how do you solve traffic on the roads? And then he wrote a beautiful greeting card. He said, put your right leg in the front and put your left leg in the front and just walk. Imagine, as simple as that. and promote walking. And if this kid tomorrow grows up as a civic authority or some politician, this is the kind of sensitization that he will have. So that is the behavior change that we wanted to bring in children. So 1 lakh hands first started to sensitize on Car-Free Thursday, and then later it was adopted for Swachh Bharat by Ministry of Urban Development, and later we also adopted it for mothers' health.
You worked with Pulela Gopichand on the physical literacy part of it also. So, I mean, if I go on, I think I'll have to spend a couple of hours here speaking to you, but I'll try and condense in the half an hour that we have. But what was it? What was the physical literacy? What really happened there?
So when Gopi and seen these campaigns called Rahagiri Day or Car-Free Thursday or 1 lakh hands, and then he called me and asked, Vishala, you've already been engaging lots of the citizens and you're creating campaigns. I have this a concept in mind that we have to promote physical literacy. So when he explained to me what is physical literacy, when we see this, we are focusing excessively on alphabetical literacy, which is I, E, A, B, C, D, and numerical literacy is about 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. It makes you calculate numbers, and physical literacy is about run, walk, pedal, throw, hit, swim. So these are called physical literacy. It makes you move in life. It's actually it makes a person to move ahead in life. If you are only know how to read and write or how to calculate numbers, it doesn't make you any progress. It improves, the physical literacy improves critical thinking, physical literacy improves social skills, physical literacy makes you more stronger, and physical literacy also help you to be fit throughout the life. If you don't run in your childhood, you cannot even participate in any marathons or any runs tomorrow. So you have to get that in your childhood days. So then we created a campaign called Physical Literacy Days. It's not only like, we engaged people on the streets, but also we went and spoke in a couple of conferences. We exhibited about physical literacy. We went and met policy makers and we sensitized. Now there is a extensive research happening on physical literacy, and there may be an institute to study more physical literacy in depth, and you might see some kind of results in future. So I was like involved in creating that kind of awareness about physical literacy.
Now, many girls would swoon to work with Milind Soman, such a huge star and a very popular person. You worked on a specific thing with him on the Swalaman campaign. What exactly was that campaign all about?
So Milind, actually, many people see him like, women's fanfare and all that. Is a most glamorous person. But Milind is a very, very simple person at heart and extremely good person. And he has lot of caring for the society and especially for their health and hygiene.
I remember Pinkathon and all was
yes,
his baby.
Pinkathon, and especially when it comes to women related issues. So the menstrual hygiene awareness is something that he wanted me to engage with, because in the general environment only for women they will have lot of issues when when they get this periods and all. But imagine when there is no availability of water, when there are no availability of proper washrooms, how do they manage? Most of the cancers also are because of this.
They trace the origin.
Yeah, and then we picked up a slum in Delhi called Todapur, and then we kind of did 6 months campaign to bring behavioral change in that slum, to have washrooms, to follow more hygienic methods, and to follow sustainable menstrual options, using more like cloth pads and all that. So that was the campaign we did in Delhi along with Delhi police.
Okay, so that basically was bringing out a behavioral change.
Yes.
I think you were involved in a lot of behavioral change, right from your cycling thing to a Car-Free Thursday, for people to think differently.
Correct.
This all, I assume, came through your natural self.
Yes.
But somewhere along the way, you must have felt, I need to have a salary, I need to make some money. So you started working for the South African Tourism Board, and you started working with for their conventions, to drive conventions into South Africa.
Yeah.
So what was that role actually?
So this campaigns I did as more of a passion, and my profession also I was continuing, in the sidelines. So South Africa project came to me through a consulting company called Gaining Edge from Australia. India, and they are into destination marketing for business events industry, and also they are into government advisory. How do we attract more conferences into the cities? With them, I worked for South Africa National Convention Bureau as an Indian representative. So my job was what I was doing with Hyderabad of bringing more international conferences to the city of Hyderabad, our city, India. I started doing it for South Africa. So I was marketing South Africa as a destination in India. Like if you want to have a conference or a meeting or an incentive program, this is the destinations that you have. You have Durban, you have Johannesburg, and you have Cape Town. And I was explaining what is their capacity and infrastructure and convincing these meeting planners.
Yeah. So one thing that I have learned from you, looking at where you actually work, is that there's a lot of commitment that goes into whatever you do. I mean, be it a specific thing that you do for a specific reason or something beyond that. So when you look at those kind of things, specifically when you left South Africa, and when you left that particular program, you got into something different.
Yeah.
And that was very, very important, that what you got in the next phase was something that drove your passion a lot.
Right.
Isn't it?
Yes. So the South Africa project was only for 3 years. In fact, the project duration itself for 3 years. And when I ended the project, I did not do any alternate planning for my income. And that's where I realized how unsustainable my work was. I was actually driven by a lot of passion, a lot of content was there. Yeah, but currency was missing. Then I started thinking, where will I get my currency? I have 5,000 media articles. So, this is the kind of things that I built. I was happy. There is no regret. But the thing is that when you want to be an entrepreneur, first thing that you have to learn is how to make money and how to make money for your associates. So 2017, I started restructuring my company. And then I thought I have to be very strategic and be very focused and create something which doesn't end in 1 or 2 years. The campaigns, whatever we agree or not, they won't last more than 1 year. In fact, that is only my campaigns. If we see, even more than the government, my campaigns are successful. They at least lasted for 2 to 3 years. And then I realized this is not sustainable. I have to make something which will last for maybe 30 years or 40 years, 50 years, or maybe next 100 years. So that is when I re-strategizing things, and a couple of startups I approached me for their business development strategy. And when I started working with them, like the Culinary Lounge and Asli Hyderabad, I realized that these entrepreneurs have lots of strength, and these are the key stakeholders in delivering tourism experience. And I also realized that this industry is called as culture and creative industry, which United Nations Conference on Trade and Development defined that this is going to be the next biggest employment creator. In India, it employs 14% of the workforce. It engages about 200 million people, and it is a second largest employment creator after agriculture. And when I searched, I was really shocked. There are hardly any people using the term culture and creative industries. There are hardly any networks who will actually brand them, who will help them to market, and who will actually handhold them if somebody wants to enter into this segment. So that is when I realized that we need a very good design center where we can start helping to these people to strengthen culture and creative industries. When we strengthen culture and creative industries, the tourism, the destination attractiveness will enhance, and more tourism we can attract, and also more employment opportunities we can create, and we can promote Indian soft power. So that's the idea.
Yeah. So when you actually started this, and you didn't announce it before. You waited for a dozen of them to succeed, and then you opened up and said, "Look, I'm here."
Yes.
And Jamiti was that came out through this kind of process.
Yes, actually, I did not announce Jamiti on the day one. I believe in creating powerful stories. I don't believe in creating, just announcing or not doing something or just talking in conferences. I want to do work on the ground. I'm a doer. I'm not a talker. So I thought, let me create this kind of powerful stories and then go go ahead and say, hey guys, this is what I have done and this is where I am, and now I need your help to scale
So
up.
what did Jamiti mean? What does it actually mean? I heard some.
Jamiti is sacred geometry.
That's why I heard some geometry
it's-
part of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a primarily design-led community, so we thought we will name it Jamiti. And
very unique.
as I said, like Siri is one of our fashion designers. She and me, like both of us, we decided to name this. And within 4 minutes, I decided this name, Jamiti. She said Jamiti, and then I searched what is Jamiti. It was sacred geometry. It is related to design. I said, let's go ahead. And then in 1 hour, we created some small poster also. There was no logo or website, anything. Just
I
for
think
my
there's something on the
satisfaction.
dots that connect.
Recently, just day before yesterday, we launched the logo. Earlier, like last 1 year, we didn't had any identity. We didn't had anything. Except
those
this
dots
place.
represent entrepreneurs.
Yeah, the dots represent entrepreneurs from various sections of the society. So many people told that why don't you focus on one segment, like you focus only on graphic designers, or you focus only on photographers, or you focus only on this particular segment. And look, like when you are working on the destination development at a city level, at a place level, you need this kind of diverse segment to engage. So one person or one event manager or one agency cannot deliver the experience. You need a lot of mix of people, diverse section of people coming together and forming that network. And then only when you have that kind of network, it's easy to create that kind of positive content, and it's easy to bring change.
But what about when you talk of, I remember now Mr. Amitabh Kant had put out a new paper for the Incredible India, how to remarket in a post-COVID scenario. Countries like Thailand, for example, are offering incentives to hotel, or rather discounting hotels, and they're saying we will subsidize your hotel stay. India has now been a big tourist destination. We have pockets of tourist destinations. We have Goa, we have Rajasthan, we have Kerala, but we never have a composite country because one, we are very huge as such. The moment a foreign tourist steps out of the aircraft and the first person he or she interacts would be obviously the taxi guy. The experience has to start from there until he or she leaves the country. Now, are you trying to create a 360-degree approach in kind of bringing about a change in the perception, change in the people as to how we should market our destinations?
Partly correct, because mostly the destination marketing or destination development and brand building so far are only with the government. There are not many private players. Even if there are private players, they don't work at a city level.
Okay.
Like airport, like they work on their own. Hotels, they work on their own. But there is no ecosystem in the cities owned by private people.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reason we wanted to create this kind of private networks and private platforms which will benefit the community. It's actually a state job. If you ask me, this is a nation's job. This is not a private people job. Private entrepreneurs would like to just offer a service, make money. But there are not many private players who think we have to train these people, we have to build this kind of capacity, we have to sort out this kind of issues. Maybe we are thinking more like a government, but in a private space. One thing I'll tell you, that this is my personal experience. When I was working for Gujarat, one of the project I did, Gir National Park, I was received by a taxi driver at the airport, and after a couple of minutes into the car, he started spitting on the road. And then after a couple of minutes, he started talking on the phone loudly. And you name any kind of worst behavior, he exhibited everything within that 30 minutes of the journey. Then I had to ask them, Babu, just stop the car. And then he stopped the car. I told him that, this is not just done. You are actually receiving a tourist. You are saying Kushbu Gujarat ki. You are, making this, we are proud people and all that. And if I am coming to your state, and if I see you, you represent your state.
Correct.
And then, he said, Madam, nobody told me this. I said, yeah, nobody told you, because governments don't focus on this. Government's tourism means go and build a museum or go and build something. Just an infrastructure.
That's
but
true.
Soft elements, they don't focus.
They don't train people.
And you don't believe, after 2 months I went, I don't know how this guy again received me.
Okay.
And then what he told me amazed me. He said, Madam, after you told me, I started cleaning my car, and I stopped spitting on the road. I stopped talking on phone. I started saying namaste, all these things. So I was so happy. So you have to, it's not like that they don't want to do it. It is that nobody is talking to them and nobody is training them. So by creating this kind of communities, a culture and creative industries, by training them on soft power, by training them on public diplomacy, by branding them well, by teaching them some kind of marketing techniques, it is actually you're indirectly making the nation brand grow. As simple as that.
I think Mr. Narendra Modi and other people, the tourism ministry and everybody needs to have you on the rolls, because there's so much that you've done across it. I'm just not funny, because it's you've done so much of it actually.
Yeah.
Right from the time you started with the earlier stuff, then you did your various city-based assignments, you did for South African government, and then you came back again and started doing it. Is your hands full? Are your do you have enough entrepreneurs, or are you looking for more?
No, actually, there was one day I asked one of my close friend. I was very confused whether I'm a social activist or an entrepreneur or a social entrepreneur or anything. And then I went and asked my friend, "Hey, what do you think I am? Am I a social entrepreneur, social activist, or what it is? Why am I getting into too many things?" Then he said, "Vishala, you are like Richard Branson. You are this idea person. You have these beautiful ideas. But one thing you need is people who execute it. And people who execute have to be extremely opposite to what you are. And they have to be just focused on that execution, and they should not interfere in your space." So that is when I started changing the strategy and I started getting more success. Now I don't execute anything on my own. What I do is, even if I get an idea, I just stop it. Oh, keep it on hold, stop it, and then I'll find a right person. If that right person has that idea, if he has any idea, I'll still help him to see the reality. But if he doesn't have idea, I'll say, okay, this is what I have, would you like to work on that? And if he says yes, then I'll pass it on to him. So right now what I'm doing is I'm ideating things. I'm not executing things. I'm ideating, I'm empowering, and I'm training them to work on the ground. So I'm just holding that ideation space.
I think you have your entire kaleidoscope or repertoire of things that you're doing, Vishala. It's amazing. As I said, I could possibly go on for the next 1 hour speaking to you on various things, but we have a time span that needs to be respected. Thank you very much for speaking to us at HiBiz News, and it was wonderful having you. And another day, maybe when we get your entrepreneurs, we'll put all of them together in one room and speak to them.
No, of course, we should actually bring out more stories like that. When we bring out more powerful stories, when we bring out more positive stories, it will help. And actually now it is the time that where we have to innovate, we have to restructure, and we have to rebuild, and we have to reinvent a lot of careers. So I think more and more positive stories, and thanks to HiBiz for creating this positive content. And I'm seeing how we are able to interview, how we are able to bring more stories. Thank you, Suresh Garu, for
Thank you very
reaching
much,
out.
Vishala. Wonderful.
Thank you.
That was Vishala Reddy, a lady whom I said right at the start has a hands full doing too many things, but she succeeded in everything that she did. And I think very few women live the passion that they want with. She lives a dream, she does what she wants, and I think that's being successful, to say the least. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.